And away we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Good to be with you. Happy whatever today is. What is it, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. What a beautiful day, too. Man, we are
starting out cold, but we're gonna end hot.
Yeah, upper 70s today, right?
I believe so, yes.
Don't hate that for us. That's what'll change the pace. Of course, that means that about half of us are about to get our asses kicked by allergies over the next couple of days. But, you know, we're good. We're going to get through it. How's everybody? Everybody doing well? Hope that you are. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass today is the great Lonzo. And we got a full show lined up for you on the radio broadcast today. A lot of stuff we are going to get into, including a dreaded vote of confidence has been handed out. And I'm kind of intrigued here to what Zoe's reaction is going to be. Because on one hand, Lonzo called this shot. He told me this was coming down the pipe. I said, there's no way. There's no way that this is going to happen. And it did. On the other hand, it's his coach.
Well,
that got the dreaded vote of confidence.
When we get to this, it's proof that the thing that's going on around here is not as strong as you think. Even though some people talk about it all the time, it's not as real as it is somewhere else.
Well, we're going to talk about that coming up later on in the radio broadcast. Yesterday, I asked you, who do I be mad at in the Zion Williamson story? Well, Z had some comments yesterday. That I found very interesting about the whole situation, and I want to get to that. We've got a lot of news out of Atlanta as the Braves go back-to-back dubs over the Reds, but both of them very dramatic. 2 nights ago, a walk-off dinger by Sean Murphy. Last night, the Bravos go late into the game before they're able to get one up on the Cincinnati Reds. But we've got a lot of player news out of Atlanta. We've got injury progressions, treatment and therapy progressions, guys going down, guys coming up. So we'll talk some Braves ball later on in the radio broadcast. Obviously, we've got to talk some Carolina Panthers as we are now 15 days away. Just 2 weeks and a day away from the National Football League draft. We know that Anthony Richardson spent Sunday and Monday in Charlotte. We know that Bryce Young and Will Levis are both in Charlotte right now. So we're going to talk about some of the reports coming out of the Queen City. Also, another big name free agent is currently in Charlotte. Another Cincinnati Bengals free agent is in Charlotte, and one that I genuinely think could be a difference maker for the Cats this year if they are able to get him on the payroll. I'll tell you who it is and why later on in the show. Shane Beamer talked a little bit about the South Carolina spring game coming up this Saturday. Both the Gamecocks and the Tigers will have their spring games upcoming, and Shane had some comments that sent the Gamecock social media sphere into a bit of a treasure hunt this weekend. I'll tell you what that means coming up later on in the show. All of that and more over the course of the day. But let's start with last night, a pair of NBA play-in games. And it all culminated with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the third quarter hanging on to a 15-point lead over the LA Lakers. A 15-point lead that they then blew before eating the L in OT in one of the worst fourth quarters of basketball I have watched in a very, 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 very long time. Karl Anthony Towns is supposed to be that guy for Minnesota, right? Like, he's supposed to be the guy that helps take that franchise and elevates them to a new level. Not last night. 0 for 2 and 0 points in a fourth quarter where the Lakers just chipped away. On the other hand, a guy that the majority of this audience seems to want to continue to denigrate as a player, LeBron James. Bron decided to take over that game late in the game last night. And just by being LeBron, was able to climb back in and win that thing.
How long will it be before the next part of the playoffs start for the Lakers?
Sunday.
Okay.
Their next game. So they got a few days to rest up.
Will he actually play Sunday? I don't know, because,
Hey, look, you can bang on LeBron all you want, buddy. Last night, Bron was the game breaker for LA. Now, let me be abundantly clear. I think that this is more a story of Minnesota completely breaking down than it was the LA Lakers doing something special. But
although earlier in the year with Westbrook and all that guy, there was no way the Lakers were making the playoffs.
None. And here they are, not just in the playoff, but the first play-in team out of the West to get into the playoffs. The Timberwolves will now hang out. They wait for the winner of tonight's matchup between your New Orleans Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The winner of that game will travel to Minnesota, and the winner of that game will make it into the NBA playoffs. Western Conference is the 8th seed. But the Lake Show was not alone, because the heavy underdogs, the Atlanta Hawks, last night went to Miami and got a dub over the Heat. The Hawks are in. Ice Trae is in. Throwing assists like they're going out of style yesterday. I got to tell you, man. I like Trae. I like Trae. Trae might be, I'm not saying he's the most unappreciated player in the league, but he's in that discussion without a doubt. Trae and the Hawks yesterday against the Heat, just handing out dimes. And the Hawks move on as well. So the Heat will move on in and wait for the winner of tonight's Eastern Conference play-in game. And then the Heat will be on the road again. Charles Barkley said yesterday on Inside the NBA before that game started, they were talking Hawks Heat. And Charles was all in talking about what the Heat are going to do in the playoffs and this, that, and the other. And Shaq said, they got to beat the Hawks first. And Chuck said, they're going to beat the Hawks. The Hawks are terrible. I'll bet anything you want. I'll bet $1 billion on it right now. So, good thing for Chuck is nobody took him up on that bet, because he'd have been in trouble.
I'm guessing he doesn't have $1 billion, but you never know.
You never know.
He does make quite a bit of money, I'm sure.
I don't think it's a Billy, but I could be wrong. The Hawks are in. The Lake Show are in. Now we wait for the results of the lower seeded play-in games tonight. And then on, Friday night, we will get the East and the West final play-in game to determine who goes into the playoffs as the lowest seed in the playoffs. But back to that Lakers game against the T-Wolves last night. How about this, though? Minnesota put up 28 points in the first quarter. They put up 32 points in the second quarter. They put up 26 points in the third quarter. They were riding a 15-point lead. And then in the fourth quarter, they put up 12 points. 12. On like 2 of 24 shooting or something stupid.
Were
like
they
that.
shut down by that vaunted Laker defense?
Nope. They panicked. They just panicked. Like, all right, I'm a play and turning guy, right? My philosophy is almost always more sports, please. Very rarely are you going to find Rob Brown asking for fewer games. It's not going to happen, right? Fewer games is not good for me. I get frustrated every year at the number of you guys who tweet, text, and call into the program and go, we need less bowl games. We need fewer bowl games. Why? We're about to go 190, 200 days, whatever it is, without college football. Why would I want fewer games? It's frustrating. I'm a play-in tournament guy. But as I sat up entirely too late to watch the worst NBA fourth quarter I have seen in a very long time, I started seeing the tweets on the TL of, are we sure these teams deserve to be in the playoffs? Like, are we sure that we want to send either one of these teams into the playoffs? The Lakers put up 30 in the third. That cut the deficit by 4. They put up a whopping 19 in the fourth quarter. Like, the Lakers weren't good. It was just that the Timberwolves were atrocious. By the way, Minnesota spent 2.5 quarters shooting plus 50% from the floor. Then they went into the fourth quarter and shot like 13%. What happened? Zero clutch gene in that team. I look, New Orleans is going to go into the game tonight against Oklahoma City as like a 2.5, maybe 3.5 point favorite. Same Minnesota team that, by the way, a game ago beat the Pellies in Minnesota after Rudy Gobert punched his own teammate. They came out and won that game. Good news for New Orleans is that the T-Wolves coming into this game are going to get Rudy Gobert back. He was on a 1-game suspension. He could not play last night, and it cost the T-Wolves a lot. We'll see if that messes with the chemistry, if you will, of the T-Wolves. Jose Alvarado not available, obviously, as we've mentioned a number of times. Zion out for the Pellies still. If he returns in the playoffs, it will likely be no earlier than the second round of the playoffs. But the Pelicans are playing good ball to the point that P1 Keegan, friend of the show, Pellies fan, like me, told me the other day, I kind of don't want Zion back because the team's got such good chemistry right now. If you start forcing the ball through Z, it kind of changes everything the Pellies did to win. On the flip side, after Zion went away, they went from the second seed in the West to now fighting and having to win 2 games back-to-back on the road for the second one in order to get in. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it. So we'll see what the NBA play-in tournament lower seeded games look like tonight and set up for Friday, and we'll have breakdowns of those as the week progresses. But let's do this. Let's run to a break. Because when we come back, Lonzo has been telling me for a minute that his coach of the Ohio State University was going to get a vote of confidence because losing to Michigan and going 11-1 ain't good enough, apparently. And yesterday, he was proven correct. The Buckeyes gave Ryan Day the vote of confidence. And I am blown away by it. Blown away by it. So we're going to talk about that, get Zoe's reaction, and translate that to you guys. See how you feel about it when we come back. The great ones at the helm. My name is Rob Brown. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, got a live read. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
Clowney's not a bust, Trey. Just want to point out that he's still playing in the league. Although I don't think he's on a team this year.
Not only is he still in the league, the Panthers are a front runner to sign him as a free agent.
I hope so.
Yeah, he could be in Carolina next year. No, this is not Paul and Skrilla. This is your boy. Yesterday, The Drive asked me to announce the entire roster and the starting lineup since it was opening day, which I was happy to do. But the reason they asked me was because on Tuesday, I introduced the entire team last Thursday, introduced the entire team to the season ticket holders that were there and did so in my ring announcer growl voice. And so yesterday they were like, hey, can you do that again? Can you introduce the whole team to opening day's attendance? And I'm like, yeah. So they had me introduce the entire roster, which goes about 30 deep. Then every coach on the coaching staff, every administrator in the up top staff. And I did all of it in the yelly WWE ring announcer voice. Oops. Went a little hard in the paint.
It's not as bad as it is when he sings AC/DC songs, though.
Correct.
So, which
is why I do 2 of those as show tops. Sometimes 3. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. The dreaded vote of confidence is something that has almost become a shtick in college football. Now, it may be confirmation bias. It may not, but it's always kind of felt like when an organization, when a team, when a program sees its university president or regent or whatever they are come out and go, Coach so-and-so is our guy. He's our dude. We're happy with him. We love this guy. It basically feels like a challenge to the coach. Win this year or you're done, yeah? Well, Ryan Day has lost back-to-back games to the Michigan Wolverines while serving as the head coach of the Buckeyes of Ohio State. And when he dropped the one last year, despite the fact that the Buckeyes were one of 4 teams in the college football semifinal, despite the fact that the Buckeyes were 1 field goal away from upsetting the eventual national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Worst kick in the history of football.
I mean, I don't know history of football. Certainly the history of the college football semifinals. The Buckeyes were 1 atrocious kick at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve, by the way. It was incredible how well Ohio State's jacked up field goal lined up with the midnight strike of New Year's Day. Despite the fact that the Buckeyes were a blown kick away from going to the Natty, Ryan Day has gotten the dreaded vote of confidence. Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith told ESPN yesterday that Ryan Day is, quote, my CEO, end quote. He said, quote, my standards are high. Our team standards are high. So we talk about how do we get better and how do we make sure we are able to win championships that we aspire to win. We look at each individual contest that got in the way of that, and we're trying to figure out what's the strategy to mitigate that. When we lose, it's highly disappointing, but I break things down and look at things objectively, and we have good conversations about what we need to do better. It's really not that bad, end quote. He went on to say about Ryan Day, he went on to say that Ryan Day is his CEO, that he is the dude in charge of the Buckeyes. Now, Lonzo told me in a conversation that I remember very well, about a week after the Natty that Ohio State did not play in because of a blown field goal, that he would not be surprised if Ryan Day was on his last leg at Ohio State. And I went, wait a damn second.
The look on your face was, I will recall it forever. But now you see that I was right. I don't want to be right. Well, no, I take that back. I do want to be right because it's unacceptable. You go ahead. You were going to.
Oh, I'm going to protest vehemently.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Ryan Day lost a regular season game this year, and he lost it to the number 2 team in the country.
2 years in a row.
Sure.
2 years in a row. And from what I read earlier, they haven't lost to Michigan 3 times in a row since like 1992 or something like that. By the way, later on in that article, Ryan Day talks about possibly letting Brian Hartline call some of the plays. That's the next step. The next step is when you start giving some of your duties to someone else, because it makes it sound like that you got too much on your plate. So you gotta hand off the play calling. This from the guy who's been heralded as an offensive genius.
Let's pause for a second here. Before we get there, let's talk about where Ohio State is. And I want you guys to stick with me because I know there's a handful of you going, Rob, we're in South Carolina. Why the hell are you talking about Ohio State? And I want you to stick with me here for a minute.
Oh, you're going to hate me before it's over.
I want you to stick with me here for a minute. Ryan Day lost, correct me if I'm wrong, Alonzo, 1 regular season game. The 1 regular season game was to...
All right, this year won. Yeah, and last year also lost to Michigan.
1 regular season game this year. The game you lost was to the number 2 team in the country.
Doesn't matter.
The game that you lost was to also a college football championship semifinalist, the Michigan Wolverines, a team that went on and granted lost to TCU, but a team that hung 45 points in a national championship semifinal. Now, they did give up 51, but they gave up 51 to a team that, despite their bleep poor showing against Georgia, was arguably the best offense in college football behind Max Duggan in the TCU Horned Frogs. So Ryan Day lost a game to the number 2 team in the country, a college football semifinalist, and a team that would go on and hang 45 in a semi. He then showed up in the semifinals with the Buckeyes against the Georgia Bulldogs, the team that was, it felt like, all but a consensus pick to win the Natty in the playoffs last year. And you went 42-41 with a genuine chance, had your kicker not to win that game and go on to play in the Natty. And I would suspect, based on the performance of TCU, likely win the national championship. If that field goal, Ryan Day put his team in a position to walk off, win that game, and effectively win a national championship. Now, we talk about how the vote of confidence usually means it's a prove-it year for the guy who gets it, right? That is not always true. Sometimes a vote of confidence really is just a vote of confidence.
It's true, Rob.
Is it damn true?
Yes.
Sometimes a vote of confidence is just a vote of confidence, right? I went downstairs the other day. The big man downstairs looked me in the face and was like, you guys are doing a killer job.
Not so big anymore.
Right?
He looks good. He looks really good.
I mean, big metaphorically.
I'm not kissing up. He looks really good.
He looked me in the face and he goes, you guys are doing a killer job. I love this. He did the same to Lonzo about 2 weeks ago, right? I didn't go, oh no. We got to have a great set of shows this week because we're in trouble. It's a vote of confidence. Sometimes just telling a guy he's doing a good job, telling a gal she's doing a good job is fine.
I'm sure neither one of us went, yeah, what you expect? And then walked away, right? I was like, stop.
I may have said, I know.
Okay, well.
I may have.
All right, that's the difference between you and I
may have said, I know, but whatever. It is what it is. Point here is, I am fascinated, blown away, shocked that Ryan Day goes 11-1, makes it to a semi, coaches against one of the best football teams in recent college football history, gives his team every chance to upset the eventual national champions. All they had to do was make a long but routine field goal, and they're winning a natty this year. But because of not that he went 11-1, but who the one is, Ohio State fans, here's the thing. The vote of confidence doesn't come from nowhere. If everybody's happy with your job performance, you don't have to go out there and go, this is my dude, right? You only come out and go, this is my dude, if other people are saying, that's not the dude. This means that Buckeye fans go 11-1, who gives a bleep? College football semifinals, who gives a bleep? A routine standard field goal away from going to the natty and probably winning it, who gives a bleep? It is more important to beat Michigan than to go to the college football semifinals, be a field goal away. Well, I was going to say a very short minute, like 18 yards of missed field goal, width, not length, away from going to the natty, probably winning the natty. No, one loss matters more.
All right.
That is shocking to me.
All right. It's not just about that, but it does factor in. Something else that factors in is Jim Harbaugh factors in. Don't think he doesn't factor in, because nothing hurts worse than that guy beating your team. Jim Harbaugh beating your team. But it also comes down to, you talked about the playoffs. This is going to sound arrogant. I don't care. Ohio State's there or almost there every single year. That is a given. Because they're one of those, along with Alabama, and Clemson was for a while, but we'll see if they make their way back. But Ohio State is there more than they're not since the playoff system's been going on. They've won a bunch of national championships. They played in a bunch. But when it comes down, I remember growing up, I think it was it Earl Bruce and a couple other coaches couldn't beat Michigan. They were gone. And you expect to win all your games at Ohio State because they almost always do. The only blemish in recent memory is when Fickell coached them for 1 year, and I think they only won like 8 games, and he was gone. You expect to win that many games. You expect to beat Michigan, and you expect to be in the playoffs or in the national championship. You expect that, and that's what you talk about the Blue Bloods thing. It's because they are one of those, because they're there enough to expect it. But a true rivalry, this comes into play. You checked all the boxes except for one. You need to check all of the boxes. If you can't beat Michigan, if he loses for a third time, he's gone. And
what if they lose to Michigan and win the natty? Does that reset
in this case, if it would have happened this year, if they lost to Michigan and won the national championship, which we've talked about could absolutely have happened.
Next year, lose to Michigan.
No. This comes into play. Because there are 2 losses involved with it. If they win a national championship, maybe he gets another year. I don't know. But if they lose to Michigan 3 times in a row, what's the chances they're getting into playoffs again? Things just had to fall perfectly this last time. Now next year, I think it's next year when they expand the playoffs, it won't matter as much. This is the last year where it will matter more. But here's the other thing. I've lived here nearly half my life. There are shows that dedicate the majority of their week to the rivalry between South Carolina and Clemson. It's not that kind of rivalry. You have not reached the level that Ohio State and Michigan has. If you did, then Dabo would be on the hot seat, because Dabo lost to South Carolina 5 years in a row, didn't get fired. That would never play at Ohio State. If I would say the same thing for Auburn and Alabama, although it hasn't been a rivalry like it used to be. But if Nick Saban would have lost to Auburn a couple years in a row, Nick Saban would have been fired, because it means that, I know SEC, it just means more, whatever. A true rivalry, it does mean more. And South Carolina and Clemson has not achieved that, because people are not getting fired over it. People are not getting votes of confidence. And Ryan Day is a really good coach. But James is filling out John Cooper. Was a really good coach. struggled with Michigan, was gone. If Dabo loses again to South Carolina this year, which could happen, definitely could happen with the field with the team that South Carolina is going to be filled in again this year, getting the quarterback back and all that kind of stuff. And no one will say he should be fired. No one will say that. But Ryan Day, if he loses to Michigan again, should be fired. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I don't care what he does. He should be fired. And I'm not the only one who thinks that way because it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable in the city of Columbus in the state of Ohio for someone to not be able to beat that team up north consistently.
Maybe I'm just a lackluster fan.
And even though I've lived here half my life, that kind of stuff does not go away. I mean, my heart's beating fast right now. He can't beat Michigan again. He needs to be gone.
Maybe I'm just a low-level college football fan. Maybe I just don't have heart and passion or whatever you want to call it. But if I've got a coach who's taking me 11-1, putting me in the semis, giving me a walk-off field goal chance at going to, and let's be real, winning a natty that year. And the only blemish on the season was the rivalry twice, right? We're not talking about a 5-pack here. We're not talking about back-to-back to back-to-back. We're talking about 2 games and 2 games where Ohio State still went to the semifinals. And you're telling me you're going to get rid of that guy. You're going to give him a vote of confidence when he took you to the playoffs twice.
Yeah, vote of confidence. And he's going to share play calling with somebody, which probably was handed down to him by the guy who just gave him a vote of confidence. If you put,
do you understand how crazy that is to me?
Let's put Ohio State and Michigan in a situation that South Carolina and Clemson were just in. Clemson had a shot to make the playoff. If they beat South Carolina, they're in the playoff.
Right, but Clemson wasn't 11-1. They already lost one.
No, but listen. Okay, you put them in the same position where if the loss to Michigan also cost Ohio State a shot at the playoff, he may not be there right now.
All right, let's do that then. Let's put this out there for you guys. Back-to-back years.
That's a good point, Kellen. Kellen says Hartline turned down the Cincy job to stay at Ohio State for a reason. Yeah. He knows Ryan Day's 1 foot out the door.
That might be true. Let me put this into perspective for the folks here in the upstate. And for those of you on the stream, you can play the game. Just insert your school in place of Ohio State. Let's say that your school, back-to-back seasons, 11-1, back-to-back seasons in the college football playoff, back-to-back seasons, had a very good chance to win a natty. Again, I don't know what else Ryan Day could have done. He coached that team to just go make a damn field goal, right? It should be one of the easiest things to do in football. Send the special teams unit out and make a field goal.
By the way, you beat Michigan. You're not playing Georgia in the first round.
Sure.
You're probably playing TCU.
Listen, either way, you had to beat Georgia for a natty because Michigan wasn't beating them either.
You're right. You're right.
So the game basically becomes get in, beat Georgia, win the natty. That was the game for all 3 teams in the playoff. It was beat Georgia, win a natty. So your team goes 11-1 twice, goes to the playoffs twice, is a field goal away from a natty, but both times you lose to the rival, right? Your rival's the only team that beats you in the regular season. You're in the semifinals twice. How the hell are you making the call to get rid of a coach that puts you in the playoffs back-to-back years? How in the hell are you making the play to even consider putting him on the hot seat for having the audacity of bringing you to the college football semifinals twice?
Expectations are there for a reason, and they don't. Sometimes they're bad expectations, but this is, it's cumulative. It's been this way forever because of the high standard that's been put forth from the guys before you who have coached that team and the ones who struggled against that team up north. No matter how good they were out the door.
Man,
It doesn't mean the same in some places. It doesn't mean the same here. I love the Clemson South Carolina rivalry. I do, but it's not the same as that rivalry.
Okay,
because people don't lose their jobs over it.
Let me change the conversation then. It might mean more. Let's go with that's true. It means more. It's still stupid.
By the way,
it's still dumb.
By the way,
having passion about something doesn't make that something better.
Let me say this to you. I agree with you, but as some would say, it is what it is, and that's what it is. That's not going away. The only way that goes away would be for the team to be so bad that those expectations are unwarranted, and that's just not going to happen.
I because someone is passionate about something doesn't make that thing not dumb, right?
I'm going to say that thing. If it was your team, you'd get it.
I got nothing, man. I guess you're right. I guess I just don't get it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't get it.
But you do see that I'm right about all this as far as what we're seeing in the media right now.
I mean, I guess so.
And I'm glad. I know how this sounds, but I'm glad things haven't changed since I left. There's some things that remain steadfast, and this is one of those.
I can't see a world in which my coach is a consistent college football semifinal participant. I can't see a world in which my coach is routinely getting me into a chance to win a natty, but he has the audacity to go, not a 5-pack, not a 6-pack, two losses to the rivals. And you're like, no, not good enough.
All right. Joe on the stream says, I don't think you'll understand or remember how discontented the Clemson fan base was with Dabo in 2014. 5 straight losses to South Carolina, sticking with Cole Stout when it was obvious to anyone with eyes that Watson was the guy, and an inexplicable loss to Georgia Tech. Had Dabo lost a 6th in a row to South Carolina, there were a lot of people ready to move on. I do remember. I was here. I was on the air. I was doing a Gamecock show. So I absolutely do remember. I was in the height of that and was on the air. So I do remember. But you know what? There was a vocal fan base saying that he should be gone. But the people with money didn't, because that's how things happen. The people with money said, if they had said, you need to be gone, he would have been gone, but they're not. It's not like that in Ohio. The people with money are like, no, we're not having this. If this continues, you don't have our money. So just like most things, money talks. And the boosters around here are a little too, oh, come on, man, that's my team. Where they should be a little more ruthless. I mean, it's a good thing they didn't for Clemson's sake, or he wouldn't have won the national championships, because he wouldn't have been here. And yeah, if Dabo was in the situation in Ohio, he never would have made it that far.
I guess I just don't get it.
Call it Southern hospitality, call it patience, call it loyalty, call it whatever it is. But things are different in different places, and it means more there.
Again, meaning more does not make it right or better or smarter, right? You're spot on.
But you're right.
I'd like to thank you for illustrating the point with Dabo. Had Clemson moved on, if Ryan Day 5 years in a row goes 11-1 to the playoffs every year, but he's 0-5 against Michigan,
that's not going to happen.
If it did,
I would be shocked.
If it did, is he out? They're like, sorry, that's just not, we can't lose to Michigan.
See, it's not a scenario that I can compute, because it would not happen. That's the thing. It would not happen.
Why not?
Because he would be fired.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
If he went 0-4, he's gone?
He wouldn't.
Okay.
0-3 is it. If he goes 0-3, he's gone.
So I guess that's the point.
I'm surprised they got past 2. Because when the second happened, that's when I started telling you that he's in trouble.
And to Alonzo's credit, he did. The day after that game, he's like, Ryan Day's going to be on the hot seat next year. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's in the college football semifinal. Lonzo looked me square in the eyes and went, it does not matter. I was like, get out. Get out. No way. And yet, here we are, 3 months later, and Ryan Day's got the vote of confidence.
And it wasn't like some article that I found. So I saw it on the bottom line on ESPN. And I was like, there it is. And I went and found the article and sent it to Rob. It's like, see? It's not about, see, I told you so. I just wanted you to understand the way of thinking. And it does exist, and it's out there, and he's in trouble.
Blows my mind, man. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up this hour of the radio broadcast. If you'd like to be a part of the program, do it now. The Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line's open for you. 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307. Start your text with FAN. Bo texted in, said Heartline got bumped to OC and will make $1.6 million from the $950K he saw in 22. He didn't stay because Day is halfway out. I can't imagine he is, but maybe. And Texture says, zero chance my college coach gets axed for back-to-back 11-1 seasons. Take a break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
By the way, Trey, I did it for like 14 years. Where were you at, dude? It's not like it was, like 1 year or 2 years. It was, So when Ryan Day, if he should lose to Michigan again and he gets let go, he's going to have his choice of jobs anywhere. I mean, he can go anywhere he wants to and coach probably. Gotcha.
Refund for months. I'm so proud that we've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to accurately determine eligibility. Innovation Refunds has hundreds of 5-star reviews.
Steve.
Your business might be entitled to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction.
By the way, Joe, I agree with you, but they've said that every time and they've managed to find someone. Except for the Fickle year.
Twitter just offered me 36 Owen Wilson quotes to help increase productivity. That's a sentence.
That's funny, Joe. Steven, I get it. Matt and I were a little bit volatile. That's putting it nicely.
That right there. It's just that right there.
That's what I just addressed that. They always find somebody though. You say that every time. Why? Well, if you get rid of this guy, who you're bringing in, they bring in the next guy. You know what the next guy does? He beats Michigan, and they're still right there competing for everything that they were competing for the year before.
I'll tell you this. If Ryan Day if he loses to Michigan and he gets bumped, I can think of about 50 schools that would be on the phone with Ryan Day.
I mean, he could go anywhere except for about 2 different schools. I mean, he wouldn't come to Clemson because Dabo's a god, and he won't go to Alabama as long as Saban's there. That's it.
He's not going to Georgia. They're happy with Kirby. Yeah. That's the list.
Our new technology platform developed by AmericanEagle.com has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out.
It wouldn't even shock me if Ohio State was in contention and had a chance to make it into playoff. But they lost to Michigan, still made it into playoff. That Ryan Day was fired, and whoever the interim is would coach in the playoffs. Can't lose 3 in a row. He might even step down before he's fired.
Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free loaner tool program.
Do votes of confidence work the same way in every profession?
No. Not even a little.
So it's just sports?
The public vote of confidence, first off, requires that the public gives a damn.
Okay,
right?
There's that.
There's very few careers where the public cares as much as sports, right? Like, I'm genuinely racking my brain trying to think of one. Acting, but even then, like, who's the school president in the acting metaphor? The producer comes out and goes, so and so is our guy. Like, I don't think there's another entity.
Spielberg. I don't know.
Harrison Ford's my guy.
Yeah.
Monzo just asked me off the air, which you can participate in the conversation by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate or searching for the Fan Upstate on the YouTube page and subscribing there, or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch and subscribing there. Zoe just asked me a second ago, does the vote of confidence work the same for other jobs? And my answer was, like, no. But primarily because I can't think of another job where it could, right? What other job is there where the public, because the key to the vote of confidence being required is that the public has to give a damn, right? What other business is there where we do?
I would say probably politics, but in the end, people just go with, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care what he does.
Politics was the first thought I had, right? Like, if there's a seated senator who says something real dumb and the president from the, okay,
I'd say that's like all of them.
made up senator here.
Okay.
Because the list is not short. Made up senator who says something dumb and the seated president from the same party is like, that's my guy. I like this guy. That's my guy.
How come you sound like Richard Nixon?
Because I didn't want to do an impersonation of any current or recent president, because I don't want anybody to feel like I was picking on them.
Yeah, but Richard Nixon saying that's my guy, it means something totally different. Yeah.
I can't think of any job that.
And if you don't know who that is, listeners, pay attention in history.
I am not a crook. I can't think of any other dude or any other career where a dude would get a vote of confidence as basically a warning, right? Basically a warning. Also, college presidents, stop doing this, right? What? Stop. Do you think Ryan Day has more pressure on him today than he did yesterday?
Well, that's kind of the point.
Yes.
I mean, that's why you do it. To say, hey, I don't care how good you are. You need to take care of this.
Why don't you just call the guy and let him know? I mean, I guess it's
well,
because
you're
getting peppered with questions constantly.
You're letting the people with money who are pressuring you into having a discussion with them know that you're taking care of it. You're handling it. Yeah, I got it.
Is this Buckeye fans, boosters, not fans, boosters? I'm not talking like T-shirt sidewalk fans. I'm talking big money fans, right? The ones who put their cash into the program to keep it going. Is this Ohio State fans going, yeah, I know we were in the semi. Yeah, I know we were a field goal away from winning a natty. Yeah, I know that was an incredible season, but he lost to Michigan twice. Bleep you. Give me a different coach or give me my money back.
There are certain
What the hell is this?
certain pockets, certain areas. You walk in with blue of any kind, you might not walk out. I'm just saying, you know.
It's weird, man. It's just a weird scenario. All right, let's take a break. When we come back in the next hour of the radio show, a couple things I want to get to. Yesterday, Rob Brown attended his first baseball game with the pitch clock in play. I'm going to tell you what my personal thoughts on it were as a fan in attendance. We got that coming up. We do have the Masters Sunday ratings in now. We know what they look like. What did that audience look like for Sunday at the Masters? Really good. I got a theory as to why. We'll talk about that. And speaking of Big Ten football, they got a new commissioner. And his selection tells me something about the future of college football. All that and more coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
No, Hudson, I wasn't aware that movie existed. Now I've got to, maybe I should look. I don't know. The title makes me think it might be, I don't know, White House Plumbers. Have you heard of that movie, Rob?
I cannot say that.
Yeah, me neither. This is not something that I'll get in trouble for looking on my computer at work, is it? I don't.
Do you remember the movie? Which one was it? Little Big? Was it Little? No, not Little. Was it Little Big League or Major League? Not Major League. What was the movie with the kid who breaks his arm and he learns how to throw a fastball and he plays for the Chicago Cubs? Henry Rowan.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. You're beeping.
I don't know why.
You're not going to blow up, are
anyway,
you? Because I'll leave the room if that's
Rookie of the Year. That's it, Joey B. Thank you very much. Rookie of the Year. So, in Rookie of the Year, Henry Rowan Gardner gets in trouble because when he's at the hotel on his first road trip, and his mom gets the bill for the extras in the room, on the receipt is a dirty movie. Do any of you remember the name of that movie?
That's oddly that's a weird question.
I don't know why. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I remember the name of the dirty movie that he gets in trouble for watching on his first road trip. Do any of you remember the name of that movie?
Wow. White House Plumbers has Woody Harrelson, Lena Headey. I never can say it.
Interesting.
That's Headley. Yeah, some Justin Thoreau.
So
it's actually about Nixon. Duh.
Obviously.
Because Thoreau's playing G. Gordon Liddy.
All right. Texter said something about nurses. That is correct. The name of the movie that he gets in trouble for watching is Night Nurses from Jersey. I couldn't remember the name of the movie, but I remembered the name of the dirty movie that he watched in the movie. So
you're asking what that says about you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like 2 days ago, I was on, I think, Twitter, and one of my friends responded to another of my friends. I don't even know what they were talking about.
I was on, we'll go with Twitter.
It's the type of nurses, or it's something about nurses. And I was like, do they happen to be night nurses from Jersey? And nobody got the reference. I thought everybody was going to get the reference. Nobody got the reference.
So this is an age thing. You feel old because someone didn't get a
Correct.
reference? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I get it. See, now if you would have had children, you can have your children into the same stuff that you're in and make them watch the old movies and stuff. So when you reference, they'll get it. So there's always someone who gets your reference.
Nah. I like free time and expendable income.
That's what your 50s are for.
I'm in my 30s now. I'm not waiting that long.
Yes, I will keep this promo forever.
I know you will.
Until he makes me take it off. And he will make me take it off
will.
eventually.
I was not going to ask.
It's still one of my favorites of all time. So Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but two of you knew what something was.
Bucky Bill Lovett. That was another dirty movie from that movie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Playmaking tacos.
Speed of tacos, what'd you think of the place? You okay
That was
with it?
good.
Yeah.
That was good. I liked it. Probably a little more pricey than I would have liked for the style of tacos that we got.
I think all restaurants are pricey right now, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like that's the place I want to go order 3 tacos. Can't order 3 tacos when they're $6.50. You order 3 tacos when they're all $3. The tacos were good, but a $7 taco should be bigger than they were.
I was enjoying.
The queso was some of the better queso I've had.
I was enjoying the critiques of the artwork by everyone. You're right, Luke. Bigger is a burrito, depending on the size of the taco. Yeah. Gable's in first break.
What's the what is the honest difference between a soft taco and a burrito?
I think it is the folding of the shell and size. I think a burrito is usually twice the size of a taco.
Is it just size? According to La Mesa Mexican Restaurant's Guide to Common Mexican Dishes.
Wow, I didn't know that existed. I'm going to check that
either.
out now.
I didn't either till now. The main difference between a burrito and a taco is the shell size. Tacos are generally a lighter snack or meal, while a larger burrito is a hearty full meal. For a taco, it can be either a soft or hard corn shell, while a burrito is generally a larger flour tortilla, as corn tortillas tend to fall apart more easily. I asked because Lonzo, myself, Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall, the new BMOC, Andrew, and the old BMOC, CB, all went and got tacos yesterday.
We just went with the entire engineering department. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but I got to give them their flowers.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good people to keep friendly with. You know what I mean? The people who fix the stuff.
Not why we did it.
Not why we did it.
Not why we did it.
Just an added side benefit.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our numero dos of the show. Let me get to this real quick because I want to. The Boston Red Sox are a baseball team. The Boston Red Sox are one of the most beloved and or hated of all of the Major League Baseball teams. Ladies and gentlemen, I am bringing up the Boston Red Sox, but I am not going to talk Red Sox baseball. The Red Sox are currently 5-6 in the American League East. They are a game back of the Baltimore Orioles, who are a game back of the Toronto Blue Jays, who are a game back of the New York Yankees, who are 4 games back of the 11-0 Boston Red Sox. The Tampa Bay Rays. I blew that. The Rays are 11-0.
So, using the logic that all Braves fans seem to use,
Red Sox should just give up.
Yeah, no,
just give up. Just break up the team.
Yeah, and the team that's undefeated has already won the whole thing.
Pretty close.
I mean, it's over.
And they're 11-0.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Going for the clean dozen out of the gate. Last team to get to a dozen wins to start the year was way back in 1987. So it's impressive. But that, ladies and gentlemen, that is not why I am bringing up the Boston Red Sox.
Were you around in 1987?
I was.
Okay.
I was swaddling. I was a year and a half old when this happened,
That's when I broke my knee.
but I was around.
Yeah, I remember it.
Fenway Pack in Baston. I'm a big fan.
You know, I'm not a baseball guy, in case you hadn't noticed, but I would love to go there.
Yeah.
Just because.
History,
Yeah.
right? Fenway Pack. I went to Fenway Pack a couple of years ago, went up to Baston, saw the monster. It was great. It was very cool to sit and look at a field where so much history. The Babe played there. Ted played there, right? Legends played on that exact field.
Fallout 4 happened there, but you know.
Sure. We all got our things. I respect it. So, standing there, looking around Fenway Pack, I was blown away. And I told the lady friend, as we were preparing for that vacation, that knowing we were going to do 2 days in Boston, 3 days in New York, and then 2 days back in Baston, when she came to me as a surprise and said, hey, while we're up there, I got us tickets to see Yankees Red Sox at Fenway Pack. The whole trip, make or break for me. There's only one thing that I wanted, Lonzo. I wanted a hot dog and a cold beer at Fenway Park. That's it. Anything else, we're up there. We do whatever you want to do. I don't care. We can go antiquing. We can do whatever you want. The rest of the trip is yours. I want a cold beer and I want a hot dog at Fenway Park. And I got it. I got a cold beer and a hot dog. Cost me roughly $2,000. And it was a phenomenal baseball meal. I don't think any food hits better than a ballpark hot dog washed down by a cold brewski. And it's just nothing better on planet Earth than a ballpark dog and a beer. So I got my hot dog. I got my beer. Rob was a happy fat kid at the time. Well, the dogs at Fenway Pack, the Red Sox fans aren't happy right now. In fact, there is a large contingent of Red Sox fans who are openly speaking out about the team. Not because the team is currently standing at 5-6, dead last in the American League East, and a distant long shot to win the division. They are mad because Fenway Park changed their ketchup. They have a new ketchup in the stadium. I don't know who makes it. I don't know what changes. But like any other park, you go up, you get your Fenway Frank.
Is it ketchup or catsup?
It's ketchup.
Okay.
They're not that weird.
Okay, that's what I want to know. I mean, because I think there's a difference.
You go get your dog, and then like most stadiums now, they have the little like condiment station, right? And they got a dispenser for the ketchup and for the mustard and for the relish and the mayo and whatever else you might want to put on your dog. So you go over and you get the little pump handle and you put as much ketchup and mayo or mustard or relish or whatever you want on your dog. I'm old school. I'm a ketchup and mustard guy, right? I'm old school.
Do you have to put one on first, or does it matter the order?
Ketchup goes first on one side, like between the dog and the bun on one side.
Gotcha.
Mustard
Okay.
goes second on the other side.
All right.
Never the twain shall meet until I bite in,
Gotcha.
right? Everybody's got their methodology, their preferred condiments. Some people are relish people. I saw a guy last night who went mustard and mayonnaise on their dog. I'm fine with ketchup and mayo. Mustard?
Yeah, ketchup and mayo,
And mayo?
the mix is fine for me because they even make ketchup and
Yeah,
a
you can
mayo
buy it in the
mix.
squeezy bottle now.
But mustard and mayo?
Mustard and mayo. I was behind him and I just was staring. Just staring.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry. You're going to have to leave the premises because
Yeah.
that's just too weird.
Like I mean, I don't know what authority I have at Drive Games, but I was about to find out. So you're banned from the ballpark. Anyway, for some reason, Fenway Park changed their ketchup this offseason and have decided to go with now, I was about to read a tweet from Joe Haggerty. Joe Haggerty covers the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Bruins for a paper up in Beantown. And he said, the Fenway Park ketchup is all kinds of gross. Sugar-free veggie ketchup. What are we doing here? Honestly, it ends up taking away from the Red Sox experience.
Hold on. You didn't mention that it was sugar-free. Okay, because people don't realize how much sugar is in a tomato. So natural sugar.
I just love the fact that he was stunned that there is, quote, veggie ketchup. How do you, where do you think it comes from?
Yeah, vegan ketchup. Okay.
Do you think the ketchup comes out of the cow when you make the burger? There, Joe. It does not. Of course it's veggie ketchup. It's a tomato. But the sugar-free, Now, I am fine with offering sugar-free ketchup. I'm fine with that because there are some people that, for health reasons or weight loss reasons, don't want the sugar. I get it. I'm trying to cut sugar out of my life right now. All right? I got fat again. What do you want? I'm trying to cut it out. So I appreciate sugar-free being
You're right,
offered.
Hudson. Tomato is a fruit. Thank you.
Whatever. Vegetarian. You can still eat fruit. You know what I mean. Anyway, Joe went on to say at the Winter Classic, I literally went into the media room and poured out a big pile of Heinz ketchup onto a plate for my wife and son so they weren't subjected to the ketchup abomination they serve in the Fenway stands.
That was heroic. Way to go, dude. Wait, take care of your family.
Then other people started chiming in. At CBUT135 said, hey, Fenway Park Red Sox, you need to change your ketchup. It's gross. Bringing my own ketchup packets to the game so I can eat a hot dog and enjoy it. The ketchup at the park quite literally ruins the food. Change it. At King of Diamonds said, Fenway's ketchup is weird. End quote. There are literally, I'm gonna say hundreds. I'm gonna say hundreds of people chiming in saying that the ketchup has been. I am stunned. The team is 5-6. The team has a 6'2", 220-pound Bobby Dahlback playing shortstop because they have such god-awful roster management that they do not have a reserve interior defender available. In their whole farm system, you got to come all the way down to Greenville to find a true shortstop in the Red Sox organization, right? All the way to high A ball to find a true because the roster mismanagement is atrocious. The Red Sox have put together a garbage rotation. They have let go of everybody that has been a stud for them over the past couple of years. The Red Sox right now took all the goodwill they earned from finally winning a World Series a few years back and have blown it, not because they put together a garbage roster, not because they are sub 500 again, not because they're going to tank, not because they're going to be in the cellar of the AL East again, not because the Yankees are going to wipe them off the map in the series. The Red Sox may not beat the Yankees this year. 162 games, Yankees, Red Sox make up 147 of them. The Red Sox may not make the Yankees, but it is not that drew the ire of the Boston Red Sox fans. No. The ire was drawn in Beantown because they changed the ketchup to sugar-free ketchup, and it, quote, ruins the Red Sox experience, end quote.
All right, I just looked up sugar-free ketchup, and there's a ton of different brands that have it, including Heinz. So maybe next time one of us are at the store, we grab some sugar-free ketchup and try it. I mean, bring it in, try it on the show, and see how bad it is.
I'm happy to do it. In fact, I think
I mean, we're not talking ranch ice cream here. It's just ketchup.
Yeah,
so
not As of right now, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I'll be on the pulse. I might bring in some sugar-free ketchup, and I will even stop and get us some gas station dogs to test them on.
Okay. I think French fries is a better test. But
I mean, they're
you know,
talking about dogs. We got to go
no,
dogs.
you're right. You're right. You're
Right?
absolutely right. To be accurate.
At Eddie Brando said, I'm bringing my own from home. I won't let the Red Sox be fascist and force us to use their disgusting sugar-free ketchup.
I mean, it's basically communistic saying you have to use that stuff. Give us a choice. It's America, people.
At Bellhorn12 says they offer free hot dogs to sell family pack tickets, and now no one redeems the hot dogs. It's a win-win for sales. Let's see here. One guy got it. Jack said veggie ketchup as opposed to the traditional meat-based ketchup that we all grew up with.
It ain't got meat in it, you know.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm blown away. I'm just reading through all of the tweets, and like Red Sox fans are willing to let go of the fact that their team sucks, has zero direction at all, because they want to point all their guns at the fact that they changed the ketchup at Fenway Park. That's incredible to me. Incredible that the fan uprising is not the Yankees are beating us red-handed. Not we're in the cellar of the East and probably won't crawl out at any point this year. No. Not the fact that the Orioles have like 4 rookies in the lineup and are better than them. No. It's that the ketchup went bad. That's incredible, man. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, this may shock you, but we've got to talk Carolina Panthers in the draft. Why? Because one of the all-time great quarterbacks of the National Football League has weighed in on who the Panthers should take number 1 overall and why. And I wonder if his opinion is valuable at all to you. We will find out in the next segment of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We will be right back.
And I think that's hilarious.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Bryce Young is currently in Charlotte, North Carolina, doing his top 30 visit with the Carolina Panthers. Every team can bring up to 30 potential draftees to their headquarters to have interviews, conversations, meetings, etc.
I have kind of breaking news, but I didn't want to hit the glass. Since you're talking Panthers, Greg Olson has been nominated for a sports Emmy.
Yeah, we're going to come to that,
and
too.
I just want to say, suck it, Tom Brady.
We're going to come to that, too. Saw that yesterday. So Bryce Young is in Charlotte right now. Top 30 visit. Every team in the NFL can bring up to 30 draftees to their HQ to do long-term visits, meetings, evaluations, etc., etc. And the Panthers, doing their due diligence, have, of course, brought all 4 potential top quarterbacks to the building. Anthony Richardson was there Sunday and Monday. Bryce Young and Will Levis are there now. CJ Stroud, I do not know the official schedule, but does have a visit that they are working on getting on the books. Of course, CJ Stroud's going to be visiting most of the teams in the top 15 picks of the NFL draft over the next few days. So the Cats just got to get it on the books. The odds that Bryce Young is the overall top pick, we discussed them on the show yesterday. A week ago, CJ Stroud was the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 overall pick in the National Football League draft. That has flipped. At one point, CJ Stroud was sitting at about minus 175, Bryce Young about plus 125. Rob Brown put a little scratch on Bryce Young at plus 125. Bryce Young is now at minus 225, CJ Stroud at plus 150. And the rumor is that those odds might get even better for Bryce Young, or I should say worse for bettors, over the next couple of days. Because, according to multiple reports, Bryce Young has absolutely killed his meetings with the Carolina Panthers. Anthony Rizzuti covers the Panthers for Panthers Wire. He is one of the few guys that is a go-to for me to see what reports are coming out of Charlotte. Rizzuti and Will Kunkel, who covers the team for Fox up there in Charlotte, said, quote, I am told Bryce Young was, quote, impressive, end quote, in his top 30 interview with the Panthers today. I spoke to a couple of friends I have up there that do various sites. Rashad Beer will be joining us on Friday, by the way. We'll see if he hears the same thing. But apparently, according to Rizzuti, and these are his words, not mine, a direct quote, Bryce Young, quote, killed the interview process today, end quote. And I don't suspect he means killed it as in went in there and did such a good job that Frank Reich died. I mean, he went in there and had a great meeting. Last week, former scout and NFL media analyst Daniel Jeremiah leaked that Bryce Young registered the highest C2 cognition test score of the entire QB class. In addition, according to Rizzuti, Bryce Young, quote, blew away Panthers head coach Frank Reich, end quote, when they sat down to actually talk football during the team's pro day visit to Tuscaloosa. So, Bryce Young has not only done enough that there are multiple reporters happy to come out and go on the record to say that Bryce Young has killed the game, but Vegas has bought into it as well. But let's talk quarterbacks. Peyton Manning used to be one of those. I would argue Peyton Manning's a guy, Lonzo, that was great, not because of his physical prowess. Peyton Manning running looked like a drunken baby giraffe. Peyton Manning killed the game because Peyton Manning's a football dude upstairs. Peyton Manning's a football dude who gets the game, who understands the game, who knows the game.
When you have a forehead that big, you've got to be smart.
A lot of room for cranium, a lot of room for brainage up there. On the premiere episode of ESPN's On the Clock, a draft pod hosted by Peyton and another guy you may have heard of, Eli Manning, they evaluated the quarterbacks that could go off the board as quickly as, and I suspect they will, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rob Brown's mock draft is 4 picks deep right now. And it is 4 quarterbacks off the board, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, way to put some effort in there, man.
I really did.
You already have 4.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I only got to do 31.
You said what, 15 days, I believe is what you said earlier in the show?
A week or 2 weeks in a day.
Pacing is very important.
Yes, it is.
Marathon, not a sprint.
I basically just got to do one team every 2 days, and it'll be in time. I'm going to be fine. Peyton Manning, when asked about Bryce Young by Eli Manning, said this. Joe Burrow is kind of the guy that comes to mind because of the sort of sixth sense in the pocket, the decision-making, processing information quickly. And I'm not saying Bryce is going to have that same success as Joe right away, but I think that instincts that Joe has, Bryce has. The ability to beat the coverage. He keeps a lot of plays alive, and I love that. Recognition, processing, instincts. You see a little bit of Joe Burrow in Bryce Young, end quote. So Peyton says that if he was asked to draw a comparison from Bryce Young to a current NFL QB, his response is Joey B, Joey Ice. And I'll be real with you. I didn't draw that comparison, but I don't really hate it. I don't really hate it, right? Because I think he's right. If Bryce Young didn't have not just a high football intellect, because it's one thing, as Peyton pointed out, to be able to see the information and process the information.
All right, so information is all he's going to be able to see because he's not going to be able to see over the offensive line. He's not going to be able to see his receivers. He's not going to be able to see his tight end. He's not going to be able to see all those wonderful pieces that would be around him if he were a Panther. But it's a good thing you can process information like, oh, crap, I can't see. What do I do? I guess I'll run this way. Oh, this is going to hurt. You know, things like that. You process that information really fast.
Yes, and we all know that being 5'10" prevents you from winning Super Bowls like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. It prevents that. That doesn't happen.
First
like
of all,
Drew Brees and
Russell Wilson had an excellent defense. We've seen how good he is.
Does Carolina
outside of
Does Carolina not have that?
Carolina's got good defense. They don't have the kind of defense that Seattle had that year. No, they do not. I hope they do this year. That would be awesome. But as of now, I wouldn't say that they're comparable. As far as Drew Brees, he's an anomaly. So recent history would show that short people don't fare well at the quarterback position.
Oh, listen, I am not saying that the rule is 5'10's the way to go.
Because, bigger, faster, stronger is not just a mantra. It's like the truth.
I am saying that 5'10 requires a certain cerebral ability that is above the overwhelming majority of quarterbacks. Peyton had it. Brees had it. You can argue he didn't, but I think in the prime of his career, Russ Wilson had it. These are all guys that have that. Joey B has it. Joey B also has more athletic ability than Peyton Manning did, but he has it.
He's pretty tall, and there's a little more accurate probably
than Bryce Young. I will disagree with that.
You were talking about Peyton Manning. I'm saying he's a little more accurate than Peyton Manning.
Joey Burrow?
Yes.
I would not agree.
Compare to the first 3 seasons.
Oh, Peyton Manning's first season sucked, but that was one of the worst Colts team of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's what I'm driving at, because I don't necessarily need to do a Joe B versus Peyton Manning segment.
I do. I think the stream is starting to gather some information, start to notice something that I've noticed right away. Your disdain for one CJ Stroud. Don't know why, but it does seem like maybe it's me. You know what? It probably is me. I didn't even think about that. It's me. He doesn't want him to be the quarterback because of me. And I apologize to Panthers fans if it doesn't happen because of me.
It's him, Zoe. He's the problem. It's him. It is yet another instance of this thing where if you pick A, it must mean you hate B. That's
Yeah,
the only option.
That's how the world works, Rob.
It can't just be that you prefer A to B. You still like B, but you prefer A.
If the roles were reversed, people would accuse me of just being a contrarian, and that's the reason why I'm picking Bryce Young. But no one ever does that to you.
Because I'm not a contrarian.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't you?
No.
Aren't you?
No, I disagree with you.
Exactly.
Peyton says that Bryce Young has a football intellect similar to Joe Burrow. I would say that is fair. But I actually think Bryce Young might have a better football mind than Joe Burrow.
Well, Bryce Young's going to need it when he's in Houston because it's going to, they don't have a lot of pieces there. So he's going to need to be smart when he's playing in Houston.
I, Lonzo, am saving all of my torturous bet punishments for Bet for the Cycle, which begins this Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network with Rob Brown, Cody Decker, and Hayden S. Mario. Hashtag shameless self-promotion. But I'd be happy to do a $1 bet that Bryce Young's the guy. And it's not because Frank Reich hates CJ Stroud.
No, it's just Rob Brown.
It's
not
because
necessarily
Bryce Young, as I have been telling you since the end of the college football regular season, Bryce Young, in terms of quarterback abilities, is the better of the two quarterbacks. The only thing, if Bryce Young, and I think Lonzo's even agreed with this, if Bryce Young was 6'2", 220, this is not a conversation.
It wouldn't be a conversation with most people. I still would pick CJ Stroud because of my known biases.
So you admit it's a bias. I appreciate
Dude,
it.
I've said that forever. But in this case, they're very even, at least according to the experts. And so what you're saying is they should pick Bryce Young because he's smarter than CJ Stroud.
No.
That's kind of, you pointed out the intelligence of Bryce Young. So apparently CJ Stroud must be dumb compared to Bryce Young.
No.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
Some people heard that, though.
Do I believe that Bryce Young sees football better than CJ Stroud sees football? Yes. And that's not an insult to CJ Stroud. That's a compliment to Bryce Young.
There are times when you compliment one person, you automatically are dissing the other. And when you point out how smart someone is,
that's
and you use that,
take.
No, it's not. If you point out how smart someone is, and that's the reason why you're taking them, what you're saying is they're smarter than the other guy.
If you say to me that,
see the wheels turning.
Yeah, well, because I like to think about things before I say them. Otherwise, I say things like, if you like A more than B, you hate B.
Go ahead and say that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard on the air.
It's not.
As a couple of guys have said to me to my face,
it's not.
Which was hurtful, and I said, well, I'm not done talking yet. So and then
hang on,
yeah, exactly.
What I'm saying is that if you told me I like another radio show host because I think he's very, very good, I don't take that as you saying that I'm very, very bad.
Yeah, that comparison doesn't work in this case because you're not vying for a job with that guy.
Sure it is. I have applied for jobs before that I haven't gotten because somebody else did. It didn't make me go, oh, they hate me. It made me go, they think that guy's better than me.
Well, I have hired before, and I'm guessing you killed it in the interview process.
Oh, I did.
And I would hire you every time, Rob Brown.
I killed the Rob Brown Wonderlic test. Here's what I'm saying.
Which is, you can also produce. You're hired.
Bingo. So, Peyton Manning says Bryce Young is a better student of the game. He knows the game better than CJ Stroud. That's not saying CJ Stroud doesn't. It's just saying Bryce Young is above other people in that element.
Well, using Rob Brown logic, the reason why CJ Stroud doesn't know as much is because he was surrounded by talent. So he didn't have to know as much because the talent was so great around him. He just had to be mediocre, and it would make him appear to be more than what he is.
I have said that the margin of error for CJ Stroud was greater than it was for Bryce Young because of the talent around him, right? The margin of error was better, and I believe that. I stand by that. What I'm saying here is Pepe sees what I see. That is that Bryce Young sees the game at a level that very few other quarterbacks do. There's a reason that Joey Burrow went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and took a team that has been well loved as the Bungles and brought them to a Super Bowl almost immediately. And it's not because the Bengals suddenly figured out how to run a successful franchise.
It's because he's from Ohio, and that's where winners come from.
Sure. Let's go with that. It's because Joey B showed up, was able to help institutionalize a more successful offense based on his ability to process information and then execute what needs to be executed because of it. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted to be a part of that. I think Bryce Young kind of has that same ability. Now, the question is going to be, and here's the only thing that I have that concerns me about Bryce more than CJ. Part of doing that is having charisma. People have to want to follow. It's not just enough to go out there and be Pro Bowl caliber. You got to have people see you do that and then go, I want to be around that guy, right? Baker Mayfield at Cleveland. You don't have to love it, but guys wanted to be around him. And all of a sudden, Cleveland, behind Baker Mayfield, was good for a couple of years. Joey Burrow is that guy with the cigars and the shades and the drip. Joey B's a dude with the type of charisma that people want to be around. And, oh, yeah, he's a pretty damn good quarterback on top of that. I don't know that I see that out of Bryce Young. I don't know that if I see the charisma. Now, you don't have to have stellar charisma, but it helps dramatically. There's a difference between I want to play with that quarterback because he's very good and he's going to make me better, and I want to play for that quarterback because he's very good, he's going to make me better, and he's kind of the dude. Odell with Lamar is a good example of that. Odell very clearly didn't just want to play for the Ravens to get the bag, and he got the bag. 18 mil for a year, 15 of it guaranteed is ridiculous for a guy who did not ball last year. But he wanted to play with Lamar because Lamar is a dude that is seen as a dude by players around the league. That's why you hear other active players come out and say, pay that man. Give that man what he deserves. Did you hear that when Kyler was looking for a contract extension? Nope. You heard that about Lamar, right? I don't see Bryce, and I could be wrong because keep in mind, much like I have said, CJ had a larger margin of error on the field because of the talent around him. The program you play for kind of helps mold not just you, but the perception of you.
You're right, because Alabama's they're not near the top or anything like that. There's like a mid-level team. So,
I mean, you can give it your best shot, but CJ had better weapons around him than Bryce did. That's just a fact. Now, what Bryce did have around him was a head coach in Nick Saban that doesn't love brash comments or behavior out of his guys until they're holding hardware, right? So Bryce was not really in a position. I don't know if he would have done it if not, right? But Bryce kind of plays in a program that doesn't really applaud guys coming out there and acting like Joe Burrow did when he was at LSU. It's a different scenario. So might we see extra charisma from Bryce when he gets to the league? I don't know. We'll find out. But I know we will find out with Bryce Young as QBF of the Carolina Panthers. Let's take a break. We're back after this to wrap up this hour of the show. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
Or I'm confused about the F part. I mean, was
QB future.
oh okay, because I'm like, okay, A B C D. Okay.
Be right back, guys.
On the Fan Upstate. I always wanted to learn Spanish, but
I off the top of my head, I don't think either one of them has dealt with significant injuries. Like significant, like long term. Bryce had a sprain to his AC joint back in 2022, obviously, back in October. But if I recall correctly, it didn't cause him to miss any time except for the play. He missed the Texas A&M game. That's when Jalen Milroe filled in for him. Top of your head, Lonzo, did CJ Stroud miss any time due to injury?
As you were saying that, I don't remember.
I don't.
But it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Let's check out Draft Sharks. They do a pretty good job of compiling injury. Yeah, I don't think he's had any, or at least any that were reported. Yeah, I don't think.
Because he was surrounded by talent that didn't allow him to get hurt. That's probably
Couldn't bring extra men against CJ. Too many weapons around him.
You know, I get the argument if Bryce Young were playing for like USC or something. But every time you say less talent at Alabama, it just doesn't sound right.
That's a compliment to Ohio State for the record.
I know, but it's also a diss at Alabama, at least for this last season.
It's not a diss at Alabama. It's a compliment to Ohio State.
You can compliment without dissing someone else. If I say, Rob, that's a nice shirt, it doesn't automatically mean that the other person in the room has a less than nice shirt.
That's what I said.
But there are also situations where it's absolutely, if you, like in this case, when two people are neck and neck for something, if you compliment one, you're dissing the other. My wife just sent me a story about goats showing up on South Carolina, a runway at South Carolina airport. Georgetown. No, not that airport, because you probably would have got a text before me if it was. I should respond to her and ask her what Joe Montana was doing in South Carolina.
Joe Montana.
No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Granger, we're here for you with professional grade industrial supplies.
It really does, Jesse. It does come down to build in a lot of ways. I think if I'm picking between the two, if I could put my bias aside, which I can't, but if I could, if I were the owner of the Panthers, size would still have to come into play and durability. It would have to.
Let me be abundantly clear. I am fine with that. Like, if that is the pick, I am fine with it for that reason.
As long as it's not Richardson, you know.
All right, so look, let me say this and put the Carolina quarterback discussion to bed until probably tomorrow. Let's be real. It comes down to this. Bryce Young, consensus, I think, with a few exceptions. Zoe may or may not be one of them. Bryce Young, when it comes to things that quarterbacks do, traditionally, is a slightly better quarterback than C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud has a better build for the National Football League. He is 4.5 inches taller and about 30 pounds heavier. He's a better build for what you're looking for in an NFL in terms of the ability to stay healthy, etc. Which do you prefer? That's what this pick comes down to. Do you trust your offensive line and Bryce's instincts to keep a smaller quarterback healthy when every defender chasing him down is an SEC Pro Bowler or SEC All-American? Or do you trust C.J. Stroud to make up the little bit of ground he gives to C.J. in terms of passing ability and reading a defense by his ability to extend plays while you are less concerned about injuries because he is a bigger, stronger dude?
Let me ask you a quick question. All right, it does. In the end, this doesn't matter. But which pick will make the Panthers fans more upset?
Which would make the Panthers fans more upset? I am going to honestly say I don't know the answer.
Come on, it's Bryce Young. It is. If the fans, and then if he comes in and he wins, that changes the whole thing. But initially, if they go for Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, there's going to be a contingent of the fans that are going to be upset.
There's
I
a
don't think
contingent of the fans that would be upset
No,
if
no, no,
Brady
no, no.
signed.
I don't think that there's a vocal whatever out there going, it's got to be Bryce. It's got to be Bryce. Because I don't hear that.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. I hear the folks who want C.J. Stroud are dramatically louder than the folks who want Bryce Young.
I don't see those voices or those tweets or whatever from people saying it should be Bryce Young other than the media. That's the only places I see it.
Now, I will say this. One of the show prep routines for Rob Brown is to scroll around different Panthers communities, message boards, Dave and Rashad's pod, the Panthers subreddit, etc., just to kind of feel out the vibe. And granted, internet posters are the most outspoken and over the top of your fan base in every community. But I scroll around and I look at different Panthers communities. And when the posts started coming in about the fact that Bryce Young had not only replaced C.J. Stroud as the odds-on favorite to be picked, but at like a 300-point swing, the majority of the fans that I saw on internet posts, on internet message boards, kind of all had the reaction of, if he's the guy, let's ride. Let's ride, right? Not, yay, or they listen to me, or boo, what a dumb pick. It was just whoever they go with, I'm riding with. And that's kind of been it. Now, here's the interesting question.
I was going to say, on our stream, it's kind of a consensus, and I don't know about the text line, but most people seem to be pro Stroud.
I think people are scared of Bryce Young's size, and I understand that.
Yeah, and they should be.
It is the size of Bryce Young being successful is the exception, not the rule. There's a reason that Breeze and Wilson come to mind, because that's the list in the modern National Football League. But if Bryce Young does indeed have the mental fortitude and capabilities of Breeze and Wilson, then he's going to be fine.
Because you automatically look at the other short guy in the league right now who came in and all these things were said about him and Kyler Murray, and what has he done?
Correct. I don't think anybody saw in Kyler Murray what we see in Bryce Young. But that's just my opinion, man. Hey, if Arizona does trade from the 3 and somebody jumps up to get a quarterback, looking at you, Tennessee Titans, what if the Panthers trade back to 3 to let them get Bryce and take AR? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
It's a good point, Joe.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers. Apply.
Suddenly the Panthers start bringing in shorter linemen. We're going to know what they're doing.
Carolina has the shortest but widest offensive line in the game.
I don't know. No shots don't go in. We don't defend. We foul. That's never the recipe for success with us. So come Friday, we got to play like legit, the exact opposite that we played tonight.
On Friday, the Heat host the winner of tonight's Bulls-Raptors game, with that winner getting the 8th seed and facing the Bucks. It's Atlanta-Boston now in the 2-7 matchup in the East. That one starts Saturday, while Lakers-Grizzlies begins on Sunday in Memphis. The Tampa Bay Rays still unbeaten, 11-0 after down the Red Sox 7-2. They get 4 more homers, even 29, tying the 2000 Cardinals for the most ever through your first 11 games. And the Boston Bruins at the NHL single-season points record last night, now 133 after a 5-2 victory over the Capitals. I'm Andrew Bogusch.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
Hello, I'm Howard Macklin, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. I'm so proud that we've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to accurately determine eligibility. Innovation Refunds has hundreds of 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google, and your business might be entitled to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor would tell you to get an expert second opinion, and we do a lot of work for doctors. Download the Innovation Refunds app now, or go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of $26,000 per employee. GetRefunds.com. GetRefunds.com.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot.
Sway is giving him power that neither one of us possess, Stephen. We ain't got no sway.
You do realize I get paid to be a Panthers analyst. That is the most objective one can be.
Take it from Martha and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
You're like, I want to say you're wrong, but I don't think you are.
Threatens its integrity and value, it's actually threatening your peace of mind. At C&T Foundations, we realize that.
Yeah, but he's 5'10" and a quarter. So, I mean, there you go.
Offering real lifetime solutions and real peace of mind. Call 864-581-3341. C&T Foundations, your foundation experts.
Celebrate Green Hills Music Scene every Thursday night at Piedmont Natural Gas downtown Alive, presented by Clemson MBA.
Join us for a free admission outdoor street party featuring live music in Noma Square. Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, Thursday evening, March 16th through August 31st. Visit gmailevents.com for more info.
With your choice of select sandwich, nuts, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget.
Then it's disrespect, and the Chiefs are going to have to win another Super Bowl to show you.
The faux anger that people in the media, like someone present in this room, have over what the Chiefs' motivation was is
Hey, if it works, it works.
is the same exact thing that they're complaining about.
If it works, it works.
How dare you find motivation? Well, your motivation is stupid. Yeah, I know it helped you win the Super Bowl, but it's still stupid.
Again, if it works, it works. It doesn't make it not funny or a lot of stuff works that's super cheesy. All right.
I am motivated every time I turn my mic on because I was told you should never do that. And there's still times that I probably should not turn it on. But, you know.
Well, that's incorrect, but I get it. Disrespect is absolutely dry. It's kind of like Broncos country, let's ride. Hey, it worked for the team. It's still dumb.
Did it work for the team, though?
No, it didn't work for the
I
team.
was going to say.
They were excited at the beginning.
It may have worked for the team, but not the quarterback. But, you know. That's we're going to be good because we got this guy. Oh, no, we're not. It was the coach's fault. There's nothing to do with playing in the AFC West where, you know, there are a lot of good teams. MJ motivation. Exactly, James. I've been using that all my life, even before we found out he did it.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the fan upstate. Joey B said, let's be honest. Do you know what they normally call 5'10 quarterbacks who score high on cognition tests? Coach. Listen, you're not wrong. Again, I am absolutely agreeing with you that if Bryce is successful, he's an exception, not a rule. I'm absolutely agreeing with you. I'm saying if he is the exception, he's going to be in a category with a Breeze and a Wilson. You don't be 5'10 and average, right? That's not a thing. There's not going to be a ton of 5'10 and average quarterbacks. There's one right now out in Arizona, and we all see how that's going right now. I'm saying if he is the exception, he's going to be brilliant. But we'll see. We'll see. He's either going to be playing in Charlotte or Houston. And 2 seasons from now, one of those teams is either going to have the quarterback that establishes them or a draft bust that they'll be riding with for a while. So we'll see. All right, let's get away from that because I think we've done. All right, let's take a phone call. Sorry, didn't see we had one. Who we got on the line because I have not gotten Chris Evans in here to fix my stuff.
We have Rick.
Rick, welcome to the show, big dog. Good to have you back, buddy. Rick.
Glad to be back, Rob.
There he is. What's up, big dog?
Love your talk. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now, big fella.
Okay, love your show. Love you and Alonzo. Y'all work good together. Looking forward to seeing you back. Are you going to be back with the Burns High School?
As of today, that is the plan, but we got a lot of off season between here and there, big fella.
Okay, please let them take C.J. Stroud. I'm with Alonzo. Bryce is not big enough. C.J. Stroud is, I think, a better choice, a better quarterback. Please let them take C.J. Stroud, please.
Desperation in the voice there. I get it. Like I said, man, to me, Rick, it comes down to, do you believe that Bryce's ability to read, diagnose, and execute is better than CJ's to the point that it will make up for what you're giving up in inches and weight?
Yes and no. Yes, I think he can read a little bit better, but I saw C.J. Stroud in college too, and he looked pretty good. I think Bryce is a better all-around quarterback now, but just too small. I don't hate small quarterbacks, but there's only been a couple, like you said, that have made it. And I'd rather have the bigger quarterback, more durable.
I get it. Rick, appreciate it, man. Good to have you back on the show. 844-326-3663. That is the number for the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line. Would love to have you on the radio broadcast. Like I said, you're basically asking the question, can Bryce re-diagnose and execute so much better than CJ that it makes up for the 4.5 inches and 30 pounds that you're giving up by drafting him?
In the end, if the coach, Frank Reich, has as much say as it seems like he might, his job has to do with this choice. Maybe not next year, but over the next couple of years, if whoever he picks doesn't pan out, he won't have a job anymore. And he recently knows how that feels. So how much does that factor in? Are you going to over-vet? I don't know if that's a word, but you know what I mean. Are you going to overanalyze? Are you going to bring these guys in and just run them through the mill and everything you can to make sure your choice is accurate? You can do all that, and they still may fail.
You're not wrong.
There could be a shot that neither one of these guys pans out in the NFL because there's a history of of Ohio State and Alabama quarterbacks not doing that great.
You're spot on. You're spot on accurate. It is a crapshoot, man. It's a crapshoot. Ryan Leaf was proto QB, ended up being the definite. When we say quarterback bust in the NFL, we go Ryan Leaf. But keep in mind, there was Jamarcus out of LSU. Jamarcus Russell was kind of the opposite of Bryce Young. Not the best quarterback in the world at being able to diagnose and execute, but he was a monster. The guy could curl every weight in the gym. He was a beast. Remember the whole thing? He can throw a football 900 yards from his knees. He's such a beast. And then he got to the league, and what happened? Right? He's the anti-Bryce Young. There is no guaranteed formula. There's no guarantees in the NFL at all, but there is certainly no guaranteed formula at the quarterback position. That's why Frank Reich is here in part, right? Part of the reason, and this is why, to me, the lawsuit about discrimination and hiring practices amongst coaches at the NFL level is very interesting. Because on one hand, yes, I think there is a basis for it. It's going to be hard to prove, but I think the basis is there. But part of the reason Frank Reich got the job and not Steve Wilks is because before this was even a discussion who the next guy was going to be, Lonzo, you and I had more than our fair share of conversations about what do the Panthers need? What's the missing piece here? The defense is good. Pre-DJ Moore being traded, the skill set is good. The offensive line is good. What's the key piece that's missing? Is a quarterback. So how, when a QB was the key piece that's missing, how do you make sure that you give yourself the best chance to get that guy? You bring in a coach who's known for his work with quarterbacks. Steve Wilks is a defensive guy. Even if you brought in the most outstanding quarterback in this draft, he is still going to be coached by a guy who coaches defense. Does that give him the best chance at succeeding? On an established team, maybe, right? Now, there are exceptions to the rule. Joey B is coached by Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's a defensive guy. But Joey B's next level. We don't know if Bryce or CJ are next level. Neither one of them feels like a guarantee. The last quarterback that I looked at and said, that guy is a lock to be a bona fide stud and a certified G, was Lamar Jackson.
You know, you can't teach that, Rob.
You can't teach that. You got that. CJ and Bryce don't strike me as guys that I go bona fide stud, certified G. They ain't there yet. Maybe one of them turns into one. We'll find out. But unless you have a Lamar or a Joey B, a bona fide stud, if you want the best chance to succeed, you bring in a guy who knows the offense and works well with QBs. Frank Reich was, in my opinion, the only NFL head coaching candidate available who fit that profile. The only one. Wilkes did not. D'Amico did not. None of the other available coaches said to me, this guy gives you the best chance to not only evaluate and select the right quarterback, but to then coach them into the project player you need him to be. That, by the way, is part of the reason that I have said, while it will drive all of you up the wall, across the ceiling, and down the other one, if the Panthers ended up with Anthony Richardson, I would not have my head explode. And the reason why is you brought in Frank Reich for one reason and one reason alone. Because he knows how to work with quarterbacks and he has proven it. If you want him to work with a quarterback and you want him to prove it again and you want him to excel in coaching up arguably the one position that the Carolina Panthers were desperately missing last year, then you got to let him do it, right? You got to let him do it. Part of the reason that I was so jacked about taking this job here in the upstate wasn't because, I'm on the radio. It was because when I had the conversation with management about what the vision of the show looked like, Rob, what do you see your show sounding like? One of the questions I asked was, how much editorial control do you guys put on your host, right? How much control do you have over what I say, what I talk about it, how I talk about it, when I talk about it? And they said, none. We trust you to go in there and do your show. We trust you to go in there and do work. They had basically one rule for me. Make sure you're covering Clemson, Carolina, and the Panthers. That was it. That was the rule, right? And obviously I'm going to do that. But outside of that, there's no editorial control. They don't care if Lonzo and I do Fanboy Friday and talk about Marvel movies. They don't care if we talk about the Icelandic Penis Museum. They don't care. As long as the results are there, they're fine with it. And so far, they have been. I have that approach with Frank Reich, right? You brought him in to establish the quarterback, to coach up the quarterback, and to excel with the quarterback. If you ask him to do that, you should give him what he needs as his resources to do so. Every time I see the big boss down the hall, every time, you know what the last thing he says to me is? Every time. The last thing he says to me is there anything you need from me? Is there anything I can be doing on this end to help you succeed? And I got to tell you, it is part of the reason that I love being here and give as much as I can and then a little more to the station. Because it's the first time in my professional career that I have had a boss say to me, what do you need from us to succeed, and come through when I ask for something?
Must be awesome. I just get a disappointing glance.
Well, what you need to succeed, Lonzo, is me.
Well, there is that. That's true.
Whoa! The point here is, if you ask someone to do a job, if you ask someone to perform a specific task, and I believe the Panthers have done both from Frank Reich, the job is to win. The specific task is to find and excel with the right quarterback. If you ask someone to do a job and to perform a task, part of the responsibility is to provide them with the correct resources for the job. If I ask someone to win a NASCAR race and then I stick them in a Pinto, I can't be mad when they fail. If I ask Lonzo to win us a Star Award, but I don't provide him with any recordings of segments that he's requested, I can't be mad if we don't win.
Both those things are funny, but the Pinto, I took my driver's test in a Pinto.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen a Pinto.
It was a Pinto that my cousin let me borrow, and if they pulled up the floorboard, it wouldn't have passed the inspection because there was like a metal plate down there, where if the metal plate moved, your feet would like go into the ground. So yeah.
All right.
You may not have seen a Pinto. I don't know when they stopped. I don't know when they stopped making them, but it's a smaller car.
The point here is Frank Reich was brought in to win with the Panthers and to find and excel with the right quarterback. To me, to make sure that you give him the best opportunity to do that, you got to let him call the shot. That is why I've said, if the Panthers shock everybody and go AR with that pick, you are going to see an explosion in Charlotte. You will be able to hear, and that will be the shockwave of the spontaneous combustion of Panthers fans everywhere.
I think you can look at this a different direction, though, because Tepper has had from what we understand, the offhand approach and hasn't had a hand and stuff, and he's let his quarterback, his coaches and stuff make the picks. Maybe if he looks at it and goes, okay, we're not where I think we should be, maybe this is the year he actually steps in and has something to say about it. I don't know, because, I mean, he let things go with Matt Rule, and we see what happened there. Do you consider that an anomaly and go, you know what, we'll just let the next guy do it? Or do you immediately go, no, I think I might need to help this time?
Here's the problem. You risk stumbling into Jerry Jones territory. You risk stumbling into Al Davis territory.
Yeah, but you've got to have some interaction and some back and forth with about the choices, or are you just completely standoffish? You own the thing. I get why people don't like Jerry Jones. It doesn't bother me that much because he owns the team. And if he wants to be involved in things, then good with him. And he has to be, since he's his own general manager. But in this case, maybe he doesn't have the interaction with Frank Reich, but he has it with the GM, and the GM and Frank Reich talk about it. But can he keep his hands completely off of it? I don't think so.
Again, I got no problem with.
Could you?
I've got no problem
in that position. Could you just not be involved?
No, I couldn't not be involved. Right.
So you talked about the boss earlier. All right, the boss doesn't have to directly be involved, but there's a level of management below him that needs to take care of all that stuff.
For the record, you better believe he still checks in on the show. Go down there, and there is always a radio in his office that he is flipping between every show that he is a part of the management team for.
Especially if some rare occasion someone makes a mistake, he always hears it. It's uncanny.
Right. Not that we ever do, but if we did, he would.
Those guys are getting better, though.
The point is, Tep, I think, to some degree, learned the lesson with Matt Rule, right? With Matt Rule, it was like, this is my guy, doubters be damned. And it burned him. I think that Matt Rule basically got to strong arm everything and make his picks. And again, I get this is counter to my argument, right? On the one hand, I'm like, let Frank Reich make his pick. Let him do his thing. But the Rule hire from the beginning was a Rule hire that nobody was good with except Tep. So I'm fine with being involved. And again, I am not suggesting that Anthony Richardson is the right pick. I am not at all. What I'm saying is, I understand why, because you got to let football guys do football things. And if Reich says Bryce Young's the guy, not CJ Stroud, then I'm rolling with that. All right, let's take a break. I really did not want that to go another segment, but here we are. So when we come back, I got a story Lonzo was going to flip out over. I got a story Lonzo is going to love when we come back. Because Lonzo is an offensive lineman at heart. And I got a story about offensive linemen when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I do not hate CJ Stroud or Ohio State. All right?
I do know some other people who absolutely hate Ohio State because of me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. When you said offensive line, you went all gravelly like you're about to go Vince McMahon. I mean,
The offensive line. Yeah. Actually was taught. So Joey B and I were talking about McMahon over the weekend, and I said that Vince McMahon has put the WWE into what I call the Al Davis situation, right? In that the Raiders can't be good until Al Davis and his spawn die. Because they're never going to take themselves out of the equation, right? The Davis family's never going to sell the Raiders. It's just not going to happen. So they can't be good until the Davis family get their hands off of the program. And the only way that's going to happen is that they die. Same with Jerry Jones. Jerry's not selling the Cowboys, and he's never going to admit that maybe he's not the smartest guy in the room. So the Cowboys can't be good until JJ dies.
Receiver, they have disappointing seasons. In years in which they do, well, they've got trophies for those years. So Antonio Williams, Adam Randall, Bo Collins, Cole Turner, Jake Brittingstool. Here's looking at you.
Look what Cameron just sent me. They have the Dungeons and Dragons chubby dragon pop. I have to keep my eye out for that this weekend. I'll even share custody with them if you like. We'll just put it right in the middle. It's got to be one of the bigger ones. I bet it will be. It'll be one of the big ones. So it'll probably be about this big. Hopefully he's heavy. Hopefully he rolls.
This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-758-7980. That's 800-758-7980. What do you have to lose? Call 800-758-7980. Again, 800-758-7980.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year.
I will always have a special place in my heart for the Pinto because of that.
The Pinto.
If I recall, one of my best friends had a Pinto wagon. I think that was a Pinto wagon. Yeah, like 310s in it. That thing would rumble.
With Skyrizi, you can achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic and psoriasis, and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally.
It's weird what will show up on your Twitter feed. There is a tweet from Jim McMahon. I don't know why. I don't follow Jim McMahon, and it's just a picture.
I'm not going to say it.
Actually, it's video.
But there is something trending that I'm very curious as to why. I'm not going to click it. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to see if it's on your list.
Oh, it's probably not. Unless it has to do with religion. Okay. That's the only odd thing that I believe is on my list. Yes. If it has anything to do with The Mandalorian, don't say anything because I've already been spoiled again by what's trending. It's okay because I kind of knew something was bound to happen, but still. Especially with only 2 episodes left today and next week.
So, Lonzo and I are both what I would describe as sturdy. I think that's the word we decided to go with. We're sturdy fellas.
It's such a good word.
It's a great word. It really is. Lonzo and I are what we both describe, and I think hilariously, but also very accurately, as sturdy. We're big fellas. All right, we just are. And as was evidenced by yesterday's Taco Tuesday celebration, Lonzo and I both are offensive linemen at heart and enjoy the food.
Yeah, when everyone saw what I ordered, they're like, I know you guys all thought the same thing. Is he going to eat that whole thing? And which I did not, but still, it was a lot bigger than what.
I ordered a plate of nachos that could have fed the whole damn table yesterday.
I wanted you guys to see what it looked like.
It was ridiculous.
I knew I wasn't going to eat it all, but I wanted you guys to see what it looked like.
Now,
and it has the name Skywalker in it, which CB pointed out. That's why you ordered it. And originally, that is why I ordered it. You put Skywalker in it, chances are I'm probably going to order it.
Myself, Captain America Chris Evans down the hall, we both ordered not only our own serving of queso, his with guac and salsa, mine with chorizo, but then we both also ordered 3 tacos on top of that. We like the foods, and it shows. However, Lonzo, I did this when I was younger. There used to be a wing joint in town back in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, where I actually grew up, called Buffalo's Reef. And Buffalo's Reef on Tuesdays had Wingding Night. Wingding Night, now this was, for those of you kids who are going to be shocked by what I say next, Wingding Night was literally 20 plus years ago because I am old. But on Tuesdays, you'd go to Buffalo's Reef, and for like $14, all the buffalo wings you could eat. And so just about every Tuesday, Rob and the boys would hit the reef, bring our $15, sit at a table, and for 2+ hours, destroy a ranch worth of chicken wings. Now, in high school, Rob Brown was playing sports around the calendar. Baseball season rolled into football season, rolled into soccer season, rolled into whatever the hell else I was doing season, and it just kept going. And so Rob Brown at the time, Zoe, could sit down. If I recall correctly, my record was 56. 56 wings in one go. I'm now down to where I can eat about 13 before I'm uncomfortable, maybe 20 before I want to die. But back in the day, 50, like getting to 50 was pretty much a Tuesday occasion. 5 draftable offensive linemen. Nick Saldivieri from Old Dominion, Peter Skoronsky from Northwestern.
Oh, that's a lineman name right there, Skoronsky.
Peter Skoronsky, Nick Saldivieri, Jalen Duncan from Maryland, Olu Olawatami from Michigan, and Steve Avila from TCU decided to have what Lonzo and I would consider the true combine test of offensive linemen. The 5 offensive linemen decided to all get together at an all-you-can-eat meat buffet. Now, the words all-you-can-eat buffet are like the angels singing to one Rob Brown. Somehow they made it better, Lonzo, an all-you-can-eat meat buffet. Now that sounds pretty spectacular.
I mean, no veggies, just all meat?
All-you-can-eat meat.
Okay.
So a couple of days ago, these 5 cats, Sadavieri, Skoronsky, Duncan, Oluwatimi, and Avila got together at an all-you-can-eat meat buffet. They sat at a table, and Lonzo, they decided not to see who could eat the most. They decided to see who could gain the most weight from one seating at the restaurant.
That's an unhealthy competition. Yes. Sounds like a lot of fun for linemen.
Saldivieri sat down at a weight of 317.4 pounds. Skoronsky, 317.2. Duncan, 313.9. Oluwatimi, 313 even. And Avila, 339 when he sat down. All you can eat meat. Steve Avila from TCU sat down at 339. The weight after, 339. Did not gain a pound from an all-you-can-eat meat buffet. Oluwatimi from Michigan sat down at 313, got up at 318, 5 pounds plus. Jalen Duncan sat down at 313.9. He got up at 319.9. He put on 6 pounds. Peter Skoronsky sat down at 317.2. He got up at 323.9. He gained 6.7 pounds in one meal. Your winner, the reigning, defending, undisputed fat guy gets fatter in one sitting champion, was Nick Saldivieri from Old Dominion University. He sat down at 317.4. He stood up at 326.9, a gain of 9.5 pounds in a single meal.
All right. Did they have a scale there to
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right.
They did it right.
So this was this an NIL function?
This was apparently a friendly competition amongst 5 draftable offensive linemen who decided, let's create content.
It's awesome, by the way. But what kind of scale did they bring in? I'm curious about. Did they go digital or did they go the weighing in at MMA type scale?
I have not seen the beginning of the video. I did see some some pictures from beforehand, and they just brought in like a traditional bathroom scale, right? They didn't go with the combine like down to the kilo ounce or whatever they would go with. They brought a bathroom scale to an all-you-can-eat Brazilian meat steakhouse, which, by the way, if you've never done a Brazilian steakhouse, do yourself a favor. Hit a Brazilian steakhouse. It won't be the last time you do it. You ever been to one?
I believe I have. There's down the road.
Brazilian steakhouses walk around, Lonzo, with dudes who have pounds of meat on a big skewer. And the one I went to,
there used to be one down the road. I think they closed it down, but we would go there. That was one of my. That's where I used to take people when for Christmas karaoke. That's where we would go.
It's a winner.
Yeah.
The one I went to back in Pensacola, they bring quite literally like a whole ass pig to the table on a skewer. They sit it down. The guy pulls a sword and cuts your meat off onto your plate with a sword. There's so much meat, he needs a sword. It's incredible.
Can't go wrong with a sword and that kind of thing. You just hope your sword is sharp.
I need to live a life where the majority of my meals have to be served with a sword.
I thought you were trying to pick up another job, but yeah. Wait. I get to wield a sword? Okay.
So this is wildly entertaining to me. My man, Nick Saldivieri from Old Dominion, sat at a table and gained 9.5 pounds in one. Now, I'm not a dietologist, as is evidenced by that I don't know what the official actual name of a dietologist is. Here's what I do know. What I do know is that in order for Saldivieri to put on 9.5 pounds and for Steve Avila from TCU to eat at the same place and gain 0 pounds, the amount of food, which by the way doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's a metabolism thing. So I mean, chances you got to think maybe that's what that guy eats all the time. So it's nothing any different. And the other guys, maybe it's
It still doesn't make sense, right? Like if I am standing on a scale and I pick up a ham that weighs 2 pounds, the scale should say I put on 2 pounds just by holding it.
All right. It didn't say in the story, or at least the part that you were talking about, were there any bathroom visits during their time?
They don't. Here's what the story says. This is from CBSSports.com. Being an NFL offensive lineman is a different kind of lifestyle, to say the least. The amount of weight those guys lose once they stop eating and working out in heavy doses is jaw-dropping. Look no further than 11-year NFL veteran Russell Okung for the latest example. On the other end of the spectrum, there's an incoming crop of rookies in the 2023 NFL draft. 5 of those fresh-faced blockers got together for an all-you-can-eat meat buffet in a competition to see which one could gain the most weight. The 5 contenders were, when it was all over, Saldivieri loomed the largest, downing enough meat to gain 9.5 pounds. Just as stunning as Saldivieri gaining about 10 pounds in one sitting was Avila not saying his weight change at all. In the video of their meal, Avila is filmed eating, so he did not do it. Now, again, not a dietologist, but I do know that the process is not food in, immediately dissolved, and out the other end. Like, it's going to sit with you. Any of you who are like me and have, this is a problem I faced my whole life, Lonzo, that I'm working on. I don't eat until I'm full. I eat until the food's gone.
That's a problem with guys. And there's science out there. Guys do it more than women, because guys, if it tastes good, they keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lady friend and I ordered pizza the other night because we are weak-willed people with no discipline.
There are ways to eat pizza and stuff. I mean, come on, it's pizza.
No. Again, let me iterate this. Rob ordered a medium pizza, 12 inches or 14, whatever it is, medium, and did so with the thought in mind when the pizza was ordered. I am going to eat half of this pizza at most. I will then pack up the other half, put it in the fridge, and air fry, because the air fryer will crisp up your pizza perfectly.
It's excellent, by the way.
It's excellent.
No matter how thick the crust is, it still works.
So Rob ordered a meat lover's pizza, medium, with every intent of eat half, put half away, eat the other half for lunch tomorrow out of the air fryer. You know what Rob did? Rob ate the whole pizza. And about 3/4 of the way through the pizza, I was like, may have screwed up here. But at that point, there's only 2 slices left. And it's like, am I really going to pack away 2 slices of pizza? Which, by the way, is not enough for lunch tomorrow. I'm still going to be hungry. So I might as well go ahead and eat them now. And ate a whole ass meat lover's medium pizza.
Were they slices and not the small cuts?
Yeah, they were regular traditional slices.
You need to go with smaller cuts. It's easier to stop.
Yeah, I don't know. Right, maybe. I'm not disagreeing. I just don't know. I haven't done it.
Because your mind tells you that you've eaten like 6 pieces, which are the equivalent of technically 2 pieces, and it's a psychological thing.
Regardless of the process, I don't understand how this dude who had giant skewers of meat with a machete required to cut it off ate that in a cut. And by the way, let's cut down to the psychology here. My man did not go into this just thinking, let me be on this video to get some social media clout. If you're sitting down with 5 other offensive linemen in a who can gain the most weight competition, Lonzo, I am not leaving that table. I am going ham, all right? And I'll pay for it later. I'm actually not going ham. I'm probably going pork, maybe some beef. But you get the point.
Ham and pork.
It's a terrible joke. Leave me alone.
All right.
So, I don't know how that works. What I do know is that in order to gain 10 pounds in a single serving, you have to eat at least 10 pounds of food, at least.
Yeah, see, I think of outliers like Joey Chestnut. So maybe this guy has the metabolism of a Joey Chestnut and he didn't know it. So he went to the competition thinking he had a shot at it and didn't realize he would burn through the food a lot quicker than other people.
For the reference. Now, obviously, the density of the food comes into play, right? Some foods are more dense than others. 80 pounds of salad would fill this room. 80 pounds of steak would cover this desk. But just to give you a reference point of what 10 pounds of meat looks like, 10 pounds of hot dogs, Lonzo, is 80 hot dogs. In order to gain 10 pounds of food, or 10 pounds of weight, he had to eat 10 pounds of food. 10 pounds of food is 80 hot dogs. Now, in fairness, hot dogs aren't the most dense of meat, right? A steak is more dense. You can have less of it, equal the same. It's the old, what weighs more, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? They weigh the same. One is just a lot more dense, and therefore you need less of it to get to that full kilogram. Hot dogs are not as dense as a steak. But 80 hot dogs worth of food in one go is insanity, man. I have done some who can eat the most challenges, right? And ordinarily, when you do a who can eat the most challenges, the two foods we go to are what? Hot dogs and wings, right? Those are the two most, or pie. Hot dogs, wings, pie. Those are the things that are frequently featured in the who can eat the most competition. I'm going to tell you right now, first off, the meat sweats are real. The meat sweats are real, and they will get you. Meat sweats are frequently experienced from Rob Brown leaving a Brazilian steakhouse. I don't think I have ever sat down and gone 10 pounds of meat deep in my life.
If you reach the point where meat sweats happen, the thing that happens afterwards is even worse.
You're going to pay for it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. And again, Brazilian steakhouse, big fan. Predominantly because the dudes walk around with giant skewers of meat they cut off with swords, but there's like all of them, right? It's every kind of meat you can imagine. Sir, would you like some zebra flank? You're damn right I would.
They also bring vegetables around, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, but I reject those because there's meat.
Mushrooms are usually pretty good.
As long as they're on the meat.
Well, you can put them on the meat after they're on the plate.
The point here is that 10 pounds of meat, no matter what meat you pick, I don't know what the densest meat is, but 10 pounds of even the densest meat is a ridiculous ass amount of food.
I'm going to go a bear.
I don't know. I just know that that's a ridiculous.
I love
these guys.
I'm not going to look up what is the densest meat. I'm not doing that.
I love these guys is the point.
He's doing it, but on his phone, which is a better move.
If I was going to, it would be correct. All right. Real quick news that we just got from the boss. I don't know, honestly, how big this is going to be, but Panthers Vice President of Football Operations, Stephen Drummond, has resigned from his post. Drummond spent 18 years with the Panthers after coming to Carolina from Jacksonville. Do not know if this is why. Adam Schefter tweeted out that he is currently working on completing his MBA at the University of North Carolina, but decided to bail out. And can I take, Lonzo, you're going to be so proud of me.
I was going to say, I saw that a while ago, but I
Right.
Yeah.
But I have connected it to a conspiracy theory.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Should I go get Chris's tinfoil hat first?
I don't know.
Here's the conspiracy theory. Vice President of Football Operations might be, let's do it. According to Adam Schefter, Panthers Vice President of Football Operations Stephen Drummond resigned today. Drummond spent 18 years with the Panthers after coming to Carolina from Jacksonville. Drummond is currently working on completing his MBA at the University of North Carolina. But that leaves one question. Why? Okay. Why? Why now? Why, after 18 years? Why, after the best offseason in the history of Carolina football? Why, with a new head coach and the number 1 overall pick in the National Football League draft, would Drummond leave? Could it be because Frank Reich is about to make a move that no one sees coming? Could it be because Frank Reich is going to draft a quarterback that no one else wants? Could it be because Frank Reich is going to draft Anthony Richardson? Could Drummond be getting out before the boat hits the fan? Is this an act of self-preservation? We'll find out in just 15 days. When the Carolina Panthers go on the clock at the 2023 National Football League Draft. Is Frank Reich about to shock the world and take the only one that no one wants at number 1? Is Steve Drummond protecting his own beep? Or is there more to the story? Find out as we dive deeper into the Rob Brown Show Conspiracy Hour right here on the Fan Upstate. Oh, I'm so dumb and I love it. Valid for me.
I haven't done it in a while, so yes. Partway through him talking, I realized what he was going to do, and I was very unhappy about it. But, you know. Stop it with the Richardson stuff.
The Yankees beat the Guardians 11-2. The Orioles 12-8 over the A's. The Marlins beat the Phillies 8-4. The Angels shut out the Nationals 2-0. The Hurricanes beat the Red Wings 4-1 last night. One more game on the schedule tomorrow at Florida. The Kings lead the Metropolitan Division by 1 point over New Jersey. The Devils visit the Capitals tomorrow. Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Bridget Condon with the NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. CJ Stroud is in the mix to be the Panthers' first overall pick in the draft. But if Carolina passes on the Ohio State quarterback, it's looking like he won't.
As a frack. Well said, Brendan.
Tampa's defense wants out. Pro Bowl linebacker Devin White has requested a trade as he heads into the final year of his rookie deal. Tom Pelissero reports the Bucs have no plans to honor that trade request. One trade did go down, however. The Lions sent cornerback and former 3rd overall pick Jeff Okuda to the Falcons for a 5th-round pick. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future.
You know, I was thinking, because this is commonplace in other studios, that the better move behind me would be a TV screen.
Do what?
TV screen would be better back here.
I don't disagree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Don't do it, Steven. I haven't watched yet.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced.
Put that back there and put me another keyboard right here. That way I've got like 5.
Here's our secret.
Actually, it would be
We
4.
make
So
sharp,
yeah.
durable blades and sell them at
Got
honest
room for
prices
4.
for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
Rob, you and I need to hook up with the 501st so we can start making our own armor.
Already have. I got a guy in there. Gunnar Anderson. Great dude. It is not so much the desire to make the armor.
It's the price.
About $5K for a full suit.
Okay. You don't have to make it all at once though.
What you gonna make? You just gonna make a chess piece?
No. What I'm saying is so it takes you a year. You get there eventually. I just want to make a large Mando suit. That's all. I want to be like the huge Mandalorian.
You start as a trooper. You got to work up to be somebody else.
I just want to know they got to have a celebrity wing. You know,
I just want to dress as a stormtrooper and have somebody tell me that I'm a little short for a stormtrooper, aren't I?
Team at Express Employment Professionals recruit for you. Visit expresspros.com. From the Ingles Market Studio,
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
from your free Odyssey,
all right, time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he will tell us why. This first thing, normally I stay away from this stuff, but you'll be able to understand why I clicked on it. Hail Hydra is trending.
Gonna assume that it's got something to do with the handful of Marvel drops that have come out over the past couple of days. No.
Oh no. And I'm curious if you'll think this is funny or not, but someone did a deep fake of Hillary Clinton endorsing Ron DeSantis. And in it, they have her saying Hail Hydra. So immediately when we're done, I'm going in and watching it so I can see if I can find where she says Hail Hydra. I just because whatever side you're on. I mean, but does this set precedents? And then suddenly all these deep fakes are going to be coming out, and then people are going to have to try to figure out, did they really say that or did they not say that?
You know, part of the reason that we're not going to be able to come together on politics is because the division creates some pure moments of comedy out of both wings, right? Like the other day at the Trump indictment in New York City, which I don't care about your opinions of it, they put a camera because they separated the pro-Trumpers from the anti-Trumpers. And one of my favorite parts was there was a video of a guy who was like, this whole thing's a political play. This whole thing is a weaponization of the political system. And a guy from the other side went, your mom. Yes, exactly. That's the only correct reaction is you just like this guy is pleading passionately with his heart, his opinion of what's happening at a hugely important moment in American history. And some dude from literally the other side of the aisle went, your mom.
All right, dude.
Hilarious.
If she looks at the camera and winks and says Hail Hydra, I'm going to die.
Dude.
That would be great. That really would. All right, the next thing that's trending is Eva Marie.
That was the one I was talking about earlier.
I didn't look up to why. So
there is a rumor out there that Eva Marie may be making her return to WWE.
Yeah, I saw that. So I thought there would be something more to it than
there
that.
is.
Okay.
Effectively, it is people, let's just say tweeting pictures of Eva Marie. How's that?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And of course, when people
What they've always done.
Correct.
I mean, because that's what she's known for,
Correct.
right?
And so people started tweeting pictures about Eva Marie, which led to other people not knowing who Eva Marie is or why she's trending, then talking about it, yada, yada, yada.
All right. The next thing is trending is
Good
David
save.
Letterman
Yeah, I saw that. And I don't know why.
birthday.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I love David Letterman.
I used to.
I love Letterman.
He lost me somewhere in the 90s. I think he just kind of went off. But when I was in college and around that age, between 18, 22, I was a big Letterman fan, and it was just kind of like, meh, and moved on.
I like Letterman. I thought Letterman, just like every other host of the 90s, had some moments that were a little questionable, but it's late night TV. It's got to be a little edgy,
We're
right?
talking about lawsuits and things like that. Yeah.
Lawsuits behind the scenes, inappropriate comments made towards women on it, et cetera, et cetera. But every late show host is going to have those types of things because you kind of except Craig Ferguson, who is the GOAT, all right? The straight up the GOAT. All of that being said, I thought Letterman always kind of tested the limits, and I appreciated that. His Netflix show, My Next Guest, is worth a watch. Worth a watch. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be at the Drive game tonight. If you're going to be there, come find me. Say hi. Bits games tomorrow and Friday. Y'all have a great one. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate later. Brother. Your mom is it's the ultimate argument winner because there's only two reactions to a dude making like a passionate play and you hitting him with the mom. With your mom. There's only two reactions. Reaction number one is to laugh at it. Reaction number two is, okay, this guy doesn't care, so I'm done talking. That's it. It is the argument ender. Either everybody's going to laugh or everybody's going to go, all right, this isn't a serious conversation anymore. I'm out. I'm done. That's it. I'm going home. Thank you guys for hanging out. You are the best. We will see you back here tomorrow. Again, if you're going to be at the Drive game tonight, come find me. Say hi. Have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. Goodbye.